Hi there, and guess what? It's 19 weeks and now chapter 19, and I really can't believe I've been doing this for that long. And why did I think of doing this? But hey, I'm sure you're all enjoying it. Anyway, chapter 19 is a bit of a long one, so again it's going to be in two parts. So we'll get started on chapter 19, Where Did Your Heart Go? Part 1. And we're within the diaries. Friday the 1st of July 1988. At last my exams are over and I can breathe a sigh of relief and just wait for the results. But I had more pressing things to worry about. James was coming down and taking me to our end of year dance. It had taken me weeks to find the perfect dress, so I looked at it hanging on my wardrobe door. I'd been to the hairdresser's earlier. My hair was piled high on my head, curled to perfection with tendrils escaping down my cheeks. I just had my makeup to do and put my dress on before James came to collect me. He'd been working today, so was just able to get away in time to drive down and pick me up before the dance. Sarah had been just as excited, as she'd been dating Chris since our weekend together in April, and they made such a cute couple. James was picking us all up, me first, then Chris, and finally Sarah. I'd even bought new underwear, as the dress was strapless. Underneath it I wore a full petticoat that made the skirt stand out. Then beneath this, a black satin strapless bra, French knickers, suspender belt and stockings. I couldn't wait for James to see the whole ensemble later when he undressed me. Tonight was going to be the night. The last time we'd been together in May, things had grown even stronger between us, and we had explored even further. I'd let him stroke me and he'd finally made me come in the shower, under some guidance from my hand and the shower head. I couldn't wait to feel that magical feeling as our two bodies became one. I was so caught up in my daydreams that I never heard the car pull into the drive, and was startled from them as James walked into my room and quickly drew in his breath. "Wow, you look amazing," he breathed as he crossed the room and paused to take me all in. Then I walked into his arms and we kissed so much that when I drew away I couldn't help but laugh at my lipstick now on his lips. I wiped it off and then paused to put some more on. "Is your bag ready?" he asked. "Yes," I breathed, as we were heading back to his parents for a whole week. I could hardly believe it. At the bottom of the stairs my mum and Dad were waiting, Dad with his camera poised. "Have to get a photograph of you looking so beautiful," he said. "My little girl looks all grown up tonight." James stood aside as my dad snapped away. "Can you take one of us together?" I asked. He nodded as James came and joined me and put his arm around my waist. He looked so gorgeous in his suit and tie, and he literally took my breath away. Once I said goodbye, we went out to the car and then picked up Sarah and Chris to arrive at the hotel where the dance was being hosted. I felt so smug when we all entered the room and quite a few heads swivelled to stare at the four of us. I noticed the jealous glances of some of the girls in our year who hadn't managed to get a date, or who were just dating guys in our year. After getting drinks for us all, we got on the dance floor. I'd never seen James move before, but he was good. Then later in the evening they started on the slow songs, and the lights were dimmed. All of a sudden the lilting melody of Take My Breath Away came through the speakers, with a dedication. "To the most beautiful girl in the world, you know who you are." I stared up at James and he grinned down at me. "It's for you, baby," he said, as he took me in his arms and we moved slowly to the rhythm, feeling as if we were the only two people on the dance floor, or even the world. As it was getting late, we headed to the foyer and said goodbye to Sarah and Chris. Once in the car, James turned to me and said, "We're not going to my parents' place, we're going somewhere special instead." "Where?" I asked. "Ah, it's a surprise." I must have drifted off as the sudden stop of the car woke me, and I realised we were outside a large hotel. "Wow," I breathed, "this looks posh." "You deserve it," James replied as he helped me out of the car and we went up the steps to the door. Once James had signed us in, we headed for our room. Opening the door, I wandered in, and once again I was speechless. "This looks lovely. I bet it was expensive." "Well, we have lots to celebrate, but as it's late I'll explain in the morning," he said as he put our bags down and looked at the large four-poster bed. "I think you're wearing far too many clothes for the occasion," he murmured, as I was again in his arms and the kisses began. Slowly he untied my dress at the back, and then as it fell to the floor he drew in his breath once more, as he removed the petticoat and drank in the sight of me in my new underwear. "You truly look amazing," he said, as I grabbed his tie and pulled him close. Before I knew it, we were lying on the bed and I was naked in his arms as his lips travelled down my body. They didn't stop as they passed my belly button, and soon he was kissing me in a place where he'd never kissed me before. I gasped at the sensations rising through my body. This was much better than the shower head. Then he was coming back up to capture my lips in his and then to my ear. "Are you ready?" he asked. "Yes," I breathed as he moved over me and we continued to kiss as he slipped a condom on. I arched my body beneath him as he slowly pushed his hardness into me for the very first time. I caught my breath as the slight pain shot through me, but I didn't let it show as he continued to kiss me and slowly move inside. Pressure was building. And all of a sudden I felt him shudder and then slow as he held me close. Where were the fireworks? The symphony of music that many books had led me to believe would happen at this very moment. Perhaps I'd done it wrong. James pulled me into his arms and kissed me again. "That was wonderful, baby. I love you," he breathed. "I love you too," I replied, hoping he wouldn't catch the slight tinge of disappointment in my voice. But he was too sharp not to notice, and he leaned up. "You okay? Did I hurt you?" "No, it was fine, but where were the fireworks I read about?" I asked quietly. "I think the first time's always like that. I know mine was," he replied, "but then I wasn't with a girl I loved as much as I love you." "Will it get better?" I asked. "Yes, I'll make sure it does," James replied so solemnly that I couldn't help but start to giggle. "I love you, James, with all my heart and soul," I said as I kissed him again and snuggled up into his awaiting arms. "I love you too, Steph," he breathed, as sleep took us and we drifted away. So, we're on the really exciting stuff now. I'm going to leave you there and hopefully see you back for chapter 19, part 2, in a brief second.